Wow. Wow. Thank you, Tucson. Wow. Can we all just note, I'm ready to run through the wall for Raul on that, so thank you. Fantastic. Unbelievable. Wow, listening to the folks who came out here. Jaime, taking time out of his life to come out here. I'm back there saying, that guy's a superstar, and I got to meet him. So Jaime, thank you for coming out on this. And I know Arizona produces an incredible leader, but we just saw one. Your mayor is amazing. Thank you for electing him. Amazing. Earlier today, I was down in Phoenix, and we were at a VFW hall, 7401. That hall was named after John McCain. And I had the privilege of being in that hall with his son, Jim McCain, who's supporting this ticket for all the right reasons. I was also there. I know Arizona gets it right. I was also there with another guy. You need to make sure Ruben Gallego is your next senator. Amazing. We were in that hall talking about unity and talking about the things that bind us together. And the three of us, they were two Marines, and they said, well, the Army finally showed up after we did the work. But we were in there about unity, about what we do together, because all three of us said we never remembered serving beside a Republican or a Democrat or an independent. We served beside fellow Americans. And I think now, for all of you, just in this moment, before I get started, I know all of you are thinking about this, the tragedies of what we've seen with natural disasters, with Helene and the recoveries that are happening with that. And as we speak, at this moment, Hurricane Milton is coming ashore in Florida. So I know you're all praying for the families, those that have already lost homes or loved ones, and knowing that Florida is staring down the barrel of a major storm. So for all of you, President Biden, Vice President Harris, my fellow governors, the officials at all levels in those impacted states are doing everything they can to help the folks. The way this works is that the local folks know what they need, and the governors, and there's a system that you put in requests, and states across the country go through that list and fill them. Minnesota's providing resources right now. We've got Chinook helicopters in North Carolina and teams on the ground, and we got a team from the 148th Fighter Wings on the way to Florida. We've issued a couple executive orders providing that care in Minnesota, but look, what all of you know is, this is what Americans do at a time of tragedy. This is what Americans do. They challenge us, but they bring out the best. And I think now for those folks that are affected, keep following local laws, keep following what the first responders are saying. Avoid the misinformation that's out there. That is not how this is supposed to be done. And you can count on, when we get through the next 12 hours of this thing, the goodness of the American people will shine. We will rebuild everything that needs to be done in Florida. Now comes the big thanks to all of you. I can't tell you how grateful I am to see you all here. Look, you came, you waited in lines, you sat, and you waited for this. You did it. Thank you, Tucson, for doing it. You talk about hospitality. You did it in a school gym. Thank you. Look at the attention to detail. 2024 on the scoreboard, people. And obviously, as the guests, we're winning, just so you know. But look, you waited in line, you got kids, you put things off. You made the effort to come here for a very, very simple and beautiful reason. You came here for one thing. You love America. You love America. You believe in the promise. Now, thinking of what's going on, thinking of you coming here, you believe in the promise of America. I have been known to be called a little bit old school, and I'll own that. By the way, I see that Minnesota Twins hat. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. So that's the hospitality. Next year. That's what we say in Minnesota, next year. So, but look, I believe, and I think you believe, a president's words matter. Character and leadership matter in what you're doing this. They matter. You've seen it, and we all know it, and we all learned it. In the heart of the Great Depression, when the country was hurting, and we didn't know what was going to come next. You've heard these stories. It was at that first inaugural, President Franklin Roosevelt told the American public, all we have to fear is fear itself. And it was meant to bring us together, to take on the challenges, because that's what we've always done. We've never, this idea of make America, we've always been a great country. We have always been a great country. When communism was spreading throughout the world, suppressing human rights and freedom and threatening Europe, it was Ronald Reagan who stood there as the Russian Empire and the Soviet Union tried to spread and said, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. And at a time that the country needs the leadership during this most important presidential election, at the only debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump stood on that stage and said they are eating dogs and they're eating cats. Now, as Americans, that feeling you just got, both the revulsion, look, if this guy were an entertainer on TV, it might be funny. But it's not funny when it comes from someone who wants to be the President of the United States, because it's dangerous. It's dangerous. Those words forced the Republican governor of Ohio to say that's not true, and it forced the Republican governor of Ohio to send state law enforcement to escort kindergartners to their school. That is not who we are. That is not leadership. So look, these guys are way more interested in sowing division than solving problems. On everything that you care about, Donald Trump and J.D. Vance have no plan, only for Donald Trump. That's it. But here's what's beautiful about a presidential election. There's a choice. Kamala Harris has a vision of bringing us together and getting stuff done. She talks about and she wants to be president for all Americans. And here's the thing. She's got a record of it. From the first day as a prosecutor till the time she was Vice President of the United States, she has had one client and one focus: the American people. The American people. She's a prosecutor. She took on the predators, took on the fraudsters who had to take people's homes, tried to take union pensions, and she's the one that prosecuted transnational gangs for human trafficking and drugs. She's the one who took on corporate interests who were trying to take people's homes by overcharging. That's the work of improving people's lives, finding solutions, and she never once hesitated to work across the aisle in a bipartisan manner. That's what leadership looks like. And I'll tell you, I'm proud to be your running mate. I gave you that image that the world saw of Donald Trump on that debate stage, but there was the other side of the stage. The poise, the leadership, the compassion, the grace of Kamala Harris. That's what the world saw. And I'm proud to be with her. She often talks about this. Where else but America can you have a middle-class kid from Oakland, California, and a middle-class kid from rural Nebraska running for president and vice president of the United States? So, some of you, I know you get this. I grew up in a small town, and when you're from a small town, there's a game you play, how small town. 400 people in my town. People say, that's not bad, I had 300. And then I follow up with, but I had 24 classmates. That was it. But look, whether you're in Oakland, California, whether you're in Butte, Nebraska, or whether you're in Tucson, Arizona, what you learn about what's most important is community and family and the common good of looking out for one another. That's what you do. I heard your public servants. That's what That's what animates my public service. That's what animates Kamala Harris's public service. And that's the type of service that we want to take to the White House come November 5th. You heard it from the mayor. You heard it from the folks who came out here. You heard Jaime talk about that. The facts are facts. Now, I know for these guys, it's a bit challenging. Facts are facts. We had an election, and they lost in 2020. It's that simple. But what that meant was, with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, over 360,000 jobs created in Arizona. This state creates the future. $123 billion of private sector investment, creating new clean energy jobs, solar and battery manufacturing. Look, Donald Trump asks us to be afraid of the future. When have Arizonans ever been afraid of the future? Never. Never. You don't fear the future, you build the future. That's the way this works. So look, Trump wants to roll back those investments. His running mate called them basically a table scraps. Now he takes his ultra-wealthy folks. He's not even afraid to be on camera to say this. He takes them down there. He says, you are rich as hell, and I'm going to give you a tax cut. I will give him this. They say, you never give President Trump credit for anything. I will give you credit for this. He kept his word, and he gave them a tax cut. He did do that. He did do that. Look, he plans on gutting the Affordable Care Act. Remember when 9 years ago, he said it'd be easy to fix health care. I'll do it on the first day. Now we hear he's got a concept of a plan. J.D. Vance tried to explain that plan. They should go back to the concept because the actual plan is worse. It takes your health care. It takes your health care. It guts Social Security, and every economist and every business person in the world recognizes Donald Trump's tariff policies will be a 20% addition to your taxes, adding about $4,000 cost to each and every one of you. All to give tax cuts to the wealthiest. So look, you all know here too, and I heard it the other day, housing, everything, jobs, crime, everything. They want to blame everything on migrants, and they want to take no responsibility or come up with no plan. Senator Vance, I will give them, again, I'm being generous tonight, I'm giving him credit. He did come up and said he created stories out of whole cloth when he made up those stories about people in this country legally, who came through the system legally, and made up stories about them. So look it, we all know we want a secure border. She's taken action to cut crossings in half, and now they're lower than when Donald Trump was in office. She's doubled the amount of fentanyl that's been seized on our streets, and she negotiated a tough but fair bipartisan border deal. She said would sign, and she will sign that border deal. 1,500 new border agents, new technology to intercept fentanyl. Look, keep the borders closed between the ports of entry, make that work. But she also doubled the Department of Justice budgets for prosecuting the cartels. And working with Democrats and Republicans, this is what you want, and this is what we know, to enact an earned pathway to citizenship for those who've lived in this country for years. This issue should not divide us, it should unite us. She wants a solution. We had the solution. We had people working together on it. We kept our promise to do something about the border, but also keep our humanity as we worked on it. And the only reason it didn't get done was Donald Trump knew that it was an electoral problem for him, and he wants the problem, not the solution. He came down here, he comes down to Arizona and tells you, oh, I'll build a big, beautiful wall, and Mexico will pay for it. He had 4 years, he built like 2%, Mexico paid nothing, and now he's telling you, well, I'll get it right this time. This is about Donald Trump admiring problems. This is about Donald Trump blaming others. That's not what you're interested for. That's not what you're here for. You're here for solutions. You're here to pick leaders who are willing to work together to solve problems, to make a difference. And let's be clear, Senator Vance got asked about this. He got asked about family separation. All Donald Trump was able to do to rip thousands of families apart, and he wouldn't say he wouldn't do it again. You heard it. You heard him say it. So Trump blocked the only thing we had for his own political gain. That's a big difference. That's a difference between someone who's actually prosecuted the criminals and dedicated her life to keeping people safe and a salesman who's selling you snake oil for his own good. That's the difference. Look, I know it. I know you know it. We can't afford 4 more years of Donald Trump. The world can't afford 4 more years of Donald Trump. And I know you waited in line, you came here. It's pretty obvious that you get most of this. I get that. I understand I'm preaching to the choir, but our recital is 27 days away and we need to sing. We need to sing. Look, I got to be specific with my language. Before I said they didn't really have a plan. They actually do have a plan. And that plan is out there for you in the form of Project 2025. Now they're like, what's that? I never heard of it. Senator Vance said, I never heard of that. I said, and I asked, I said, well, that's weird. You wrote the foreword to the architect of Project 2025 book. Now, I've never wrote the foreword to somebody's book, but I'm pretty sure I would remember if I did and remember who the person was. But look, the football coach knows in me. They took the time. They put pen to paper. They created a plan to tax cuts to the wealthy, pregnancy registries, gut the federal service. They're actually in there privatizing weather forecasting and getting rid of National Weather Service. Like that's what they do. So look, the football coach knows in me. You make a playbook, you're going to run the plays. And that's what they're going to do. They're going to run the plays. So look, Kamala Harris gets it. And for many of you here, and I heard it. I heard it from Rahu. I heard it from others. One of the reasons she gets it is because she grew up middle class. She did not grow up. My God, if all of us would have started out with $400 million, we could have done better than Donald Trump. You could have put it into a CD and got 1% interest and done better. So that, I know. Here's what she knows. You all know this. This isn't about not being happy someone's successful. This is about making sure we understand when the economy works best is when it's fair. And she's laid out a plan to make it so. Not a concept of a plan, a real plan. Opportunity economy. One that lifts up everybody, leaves no one behind. Look, we have a saying in Minnesota. You probably have it here too, though. It's pretty simple, but it's true. We all do better when we all do better. We all do better when we all do better. Things like rights. Rights are not like a pie. If someone gets rights, doesn't mean you get a smaller piece. That's not how this works. That's why we make sure people have their human rights and we extend it to everyone. And that's why the economy needs to work for everyone. That's why she's proposing tax cuts aimed at the middle class. A $6,000 child tax credit so the new parents, you can buy that car seat, that crib, and get off to a good start. It works. It works. Kids get a better start. And what she knows is that the idea of home ownership, things that you need to have, making sure that that home ownership piece is there so that you can have a $25,000 down payment assistance, and we build 3 million more new homes. The young folks out here, they're wondering, how in the heck am I going to own a home? That's what you want to know. Look, those guys on the other side, they see, again, they blame migrants. Where are they getting the money to buy homes? You know, they're blaming. But what you know is in places, we were up in Reno, one company bought 260 homes. They see this as a commodity. They buy it like stocks and bonds, and then they sell them around. The home for us is the place we protect our kids. We celebrate holidays. We eat meals together. That's what she's trying to make happen. And then yesterday, for those of you in here, especially our seniors, those of you in here know this. Yesterday, Kamala Harris announced something that I think is transformational. I've seen this. She talks about things to give peace of mind. We're finally going to cover seniors through Medicare for home care. Home care. I expect, I know Arizonans are practical people. I thought someone was going to give the about damn time, because it is. Look, seniors can age in their home. Their quality of life improves. And in the long run, you actually save money doing that by keeping people there and helping the families. And then expanding, and this is another one, expanding Medicare coverage to vision and hearing. You know? My nearly 90-year-old mom got hearing aids here a few years ago, and dang, we're like, she doesn't stop talking now, and she's like into it. She's engaged in the conversation. We all know that. She's out there. It's about quality of life. And you know how we're going to pay for that? You know how we're going to pay for that? By taking on the folks who've been doing some of the price gouging, by negotiating with folks. Kamala Harris, for the first time, we negotiated with Medicare. Medicare buys a lot of drugs. Folks know business on this. When you buy lots of things, you can negotiate for a better price. Well, for all these years, Medicare said, what's the price? And the pharmaceutical company said, oh, let me check. A lot, like for insulin. Now we have a cap of $35. But think about it. They said, oh, that's Venezuelan-style socialism. No, it's not. It's fair capitalism. Because you know why? That little bottle of insulin costs about $5 to manufacture. They were selling it for $800. They were selling it for $800. So what we do is we take the savings from that, and we expand the benefits on Medicare, and we have seniors living in their homes longer. We have them getting vision and hearing, and we have quality of life increase, and we ask the folks at the top to pay their fair share. Pretty simple. So if any of your undecided relatives, or who might be on the other side, I know we all have them, I know I do, family members and stuff, what's your plan? You talk to them, especially if they're over 55, you tell them that. That is a dang good thing right there. Because you know I hear this. Oh, I don't know. I don't really like Donald Trump's personality, but I like his proposals. Which ones? Tax cuts to billionaires? Taking away women's reproductive rights? Not dealing with climate change? Not having a plan for immigration? You come back with this. Kamala Harris has a plan to expand Medicare to make sure that seniors get better care, and we're going to do it by talking to the pharmaceutical companies, negotiating on drugs, saving money, and asking people to pay taxes. They had no answer for this. Look, you all pay your taxes. I mentioned at a debate, nope, we're fine. Those taxes pay for the police. They pay for the school. They pay for the roads. We simply want it to be fair. How is it that Donald Trump has not paid taxes for 10 of the last 15 years on federal taxes? He said he's smart, and he called himself the king of debt. He did not lie about that either. He is the king of debt. So look, businesses, if you want to start a small business, and I know there's entrepreneurs in here, there's a tax credit for that. It's $5,000. That's not enough. It costs $40,000 to get the average small business off the ground. Kamala Harris has proposed a $50,000 tax credit to get small businesses off the ground. That's how you do it. But fundamentally, all of those things, there's also some really, really important things around this. Kamala Harris comes out on stage to a really beautiful song, Freedom. Freedom, and people, beautiful. But it's not just a song, she believes it. We're going to make sure we're fighting for the freedom that you decide how to live your life. You decide how you choose your life. You decide who you love. You decide your health care. Those are the things. Now, I was down there. In Reno, they were out. Jim McCain, Liz Cheney. If you would have ever told me we'd have Bernie Sanders and Dick Cheney on the same side of things. But that's what Kamala Harris can do. She is the unity president. She's the one that wants to bring us together. So I'm going to say thank you. There's many, and you're in here. You remember when Republicans were a party of freedom, real freedom. You can't tell me that John McCain would be okay with a former president calling Vladimir Putin like a buddy every week. That or telling Vladimir Putin, do whatever the hell you want in Ukraine, a democratic ally. That's not the party of McCain nor Reagan, I'll guarantee you that. And I'll tell you what it's not either. This group with Donald Trump, when they mean freedom, they mean that they should be free to invade your exam room, to invade your school library, to invade your bedroom, and have government be just small enough to be in every damn part of your life that they shouldn't be. Look, Donald Trump's out there telling this, look, you put me back in, and he's talking to the women. These guys seem to want to talk to the women a lot, and they don't quite get it that the women aren't interested in listening on this, but he said you put him back in, you won't have to worry about your reproductive freedoms. And he said he would be your protector. Yet they want to monitor women's pregnancies. So, Donald, get it straight. We don't trust you. We don't trust you. You know who we do trust? We trust women. Kamala Harris trusts women to make that decision. And to all of us, to Arizonans, to the party of Reagan, to the party of John McCain, to all of us in here, something we say in Minnesota, and I know you say it here, things work better in almost all aspects of life if people just mind their own damn business about things. That's it. I feel like the Republican Party, I should trademark that, because that used to be their mantra. Stay out of our business, stay out of doing that. Now they want to be in every single thing you do. So look, for all of you, and I know there's different reasons on this, especially for the women in here, especially for the fathers, the husbands, but it's personal for all of us. And this idea, you think they're stopping with abortion? Oh, no. You know, it's a beautiful thing. We have 20 states that do this. It's not a beautiful thing that women are bleeding out in parking lots. It's not a beautiful thing that Amber Thurman has to drive from Georgia to North Carolina to get her care, and by the time she's now dead. And those are what's out there. They're not stopping. They're talking about access to contraception. And they're talking about limiting, and they've tried it, limiting fertility treatments for families that want to have them. And that's where it comes in. Look. Those women that now you know their names, Amanda and Hadley, the names of women who are courageous in speaking out what their bands have done, same with us. You don't want to hear me talk about my personal health things or my wife's personal health things, but we've talked about it because we used infertility treatments. And that's how we got our beautiful daughter, by infertility treatments. And for all of you, I talk about it. I don't want my kids to be thrust out there and but look, they're my whole life, and I recognize if we're asking you to make us president and vice president, we damn sure better respect you and your family's decisions on their name. So here's my appeal to the Republicans in the group. When did the party of Reagan decide that government should make choices for you? They have not. When Vice President Harris and I talk about freedom, it's you, not politicians, and we guarantee you to the women in this country, you and your doctor will make the decisions when we restore Roe. Now, this freedom of dignity, and I'll bring this in here, freedom to retire with dignity. That's why this new proposal she put out is so exciting. But here's the thing. Every single year Donald Trump put out a budget, he proposed cutting Social Security. He called it a Ponzi scheme. They talked about raising the retirement age or cutting Medicare. J.D. Vance called it the single greatest obstacle to fiscal sanity. Oh, it wouldn't be the $8 billion in tax cuts you gave to the wealthiest people, creating the largest debt of a president at any time in American history. Oh, no. It would be my mom's Social Security check that's causing all the problems. She paid into that. Now, I get it. My mom looks for that check to pay for the bills that she needs to pay for her food, pay for her heat, and I get it. And from their perspective, Donald Trump, when you're sitting down at Mar-a-Lago and you're a billionaire, I'm pretty sure you don't care if your Social Security check comes. So you can think about, let's just cut that and give tax cuts to the wealthy. I'll tell you what, Social Security has been the greatest anti-poverty program that was ever created. We will strengthen it. And then I'm going to address something that all of you, and this is one that is personal, and I will admit that when I talk about this, I get very emotional, and I wear my emotions on my sleeve. Because the other freedom is, and being in this space as a school teacher, and knowing the joy that's here, and knowing the parents who dress their little ones in their best clothes, and they send them off to school, and that teacher's waiting at the door to shake their little hands and welcome them into the world of learning that's out there and all the excitement or whatever. Our kids need to be free to be kids and go to school without being shot dead in their classroom. That's it. And this is Arizona. And I just want to lay this out because we should not take one back seat on this because I understand this. Look, I'm a veteran, I'm a hunter, I'm a gun owner. Saturday pheasant season starts out in Minnesota and I'm all excited to be back there to see this. This is not about the Second Amendment. Kamala Harris is a gun owner. We respect the Second Amendment. But our first responsibility is to protect our children, first and foremost. So Donald Trump told us after a school shooting, another mass shooting, that we need to get over it, that we're traumatized. Senator Vance said it was a fact of life. Kamala Harris said it doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way. So let's use this as a chance. Let's use this as a chance to turn the page on Donald Trump. Choose that new generation of leadership, and as we've been saying, chart a new way forward for this state, this country, and the rest of the world. So look, you came out here and I'm grateful. You waited in line. You waited for our plane to finally get fixed, and did you hear? But again, you came here to be around people who care about this, who care about their country, and recognizing billions of people around the world could not imagine the chance to have the freedom to determine your own destiny, the way we go together. So look, it's hard work. You waited a long time. Heck, our country waited 250 years, almost 250 years, to do what we can do in 27 days when we get this done. Say hello, Madam President. So here it is. Here it is. All gas, no brakes. You've heard me been saying this. It's a favorite saying. I love doing it. We'll sleep when we're dead. I had somebody come up to me and say, "You're taking that too literally. You look like hell, man." Look, there will be time when this is done. We've got 27 days to believe in the promise of America. 27 days to choose decency, kindness, and unity over the division we've seen. 27 days to close the book and not have to hear about Donald Trump again. And we get to do it. So you know the saying, when we fight, when we vote, when we fight,